I'm manifesting through the pain. I reach for you like a fading ghost, like a vapor of smoke. You look back but didn't see me. One day you'll notice something missing, and you'll turn to look for me, and I'll be gone. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. I'm manifesting through the pain, like a whisper lost in the rain. In the night I'd fading like a ghost train. You have only yourself to blame. An empty carriage, a carnival of pain, with ghosts standing in the rain. My memory, your pain. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. I'm manifesting through the pain. In darkness you'll scream my name, but no one will hear. It's just you and your fear. I'll never be near. You'll imagine me, my hands touching, my ghost dancing. Looking into my eyes, you'll see all your lies. You'll remember all the tears I cried. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. Just a memory, a fleeting memory, forever chasing me like a haunted cemetery. Forever you'll be missing me. Mother Mary, full of grace, full of grace. I don't wanna be left in this place. I confess my sins again and again, brought down to my knees. Please, Father, set me free. I know you see all the pain inside me. Rosary, Mother Mary, can you help me? Please, God, don't forsake me. Remember me, remember me. Holding on tightly to my rosary. I'm a sinner, a sinner. Pater Maria, potężny miłowy. Is it safe to fall asleep? Is it safe to dream? Eyes open to all these weird things. Alice knew what she had to do. Keep calm and journey on. A splendid time it could be. Taking the high road blissfully. Time was ticking. The Mad Hatter was slipping. The mushrooms were kicking. The journey was about to begin. Hectic white rabbit racing against the clock. But Alice had another thought. She knew she ruled the plot. So she ate this and drank that was simple as tit for tat. Time was ticking. The Mad Hatter was slipping. The mushrooms were kicking. The journey was about to begin. The caterpillar smoke rings. He really thought he knew things. Two sides to the same thing. Blowing smoke rings.
All right, folks. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. This is PRT. Join us in the real reality. Whew, man, speculation on what that real reality is. Right? My reality right now has been shaken a little bit. And there's, believe it or not, there's some people that want this to happen. They want something bad to happen to the Turners. They really don't like us. And that's fine. But the most important thing is there's thousands upon thousands of people who do like us, who do care about us and want us to succeed. And I'm just going to be very blunt and come out and say it. Nellie has something going on. We're going to know more when we talk to the specialist this coming week. She was in the hospital last night. They released her today. She has a mass behind her left eye, and they found a tumor, okay, on her brain. So we don't, at this point, we don't know a lot. We're just trying to, you know, and I there's a lot of people have been messaging me saying they've been trying to get a hold of me or Nellie. I'm not answering calls. I mean, it's just family, you know, her family, my family. I didn't want to be here tonight. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. I'm not, you know, I'm whatever. But Nellie insisted that I come on. I asked her multiple times to, you know, get out of it. And she's tough. And she's like, you go doing this. Damn it.
So tonight, it's just it's kind of hard. It's been kind of hard on everyone. So just if you could just try and be patient with us. Try and be. I mean, I know that you're all praying, and we appreciate that. There's nothing that we could ask more. It's just that you keep Nellie and us in your prayers. We don't really know where to go from here in the here and now, except to just try and stay positive, keep praying, and we're gonna set up appointments with specialists. We're gonna find out, get all the information that we can get, and find out what needs to be done. There might be something behind her left eye and something on the right side of her brain.
Well, it's not. It might. We don't. We.
Well,
It's a question of what the.
We just don't know exactly what they are.
We know that one on the brain is a tumor.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if the thing behind the eye is a tumor or an aneurysm. And I've said this before on the show many times. I'm going to say it again. There are people who don't like you in this world, and they will send things to you, and they keep doing it. There's a lot of things we haven't talked about on this show that I haven't told you all. Bizarre things that don't make sense. It's not a coincidence that many of the people that work for us have been afflicted too lately, like in a lot of bad ways. We've had a lot of problems with people that we love, care about, and that we're close to. And I'm not even going to sit up here and name all the specifics, but it's a lot. So, yeah, there's a lot of people asking for prayers for a lot of things, But so I have a responsibility tonight to do this. Nellie's just messaged me again and said,
Nellie's insistent on it.
She wants me to do the show. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to honor her wishes. We're going to be fine. So before we go any further, Anthony, I know you want me to keep pushing the Patreon. You want to explain it?
Yeah, so the Patreon is patreon.com/PRT podcast. If we could get some one or more of the mods to post the link in the comments so that people can check it out. There's 5 tiers. There's $10 through a $50 tier. Regardless of what tier you join, it's a good way to support the show. And after 2 months on that tier, whatever tier it is, you're going to get a swag bag. The higher the tier you are, the more you get in that swag bag. But regardless, every tier gets at least one autographed book, stickers, a t-shirt, keychains, and on the $50 tier, we have an exclusive tumbler. It's a black and copper PRT tumbler. It's like one of those little Yeti tumblers. It's really cool. And it's got both of our logos on each side. And then after that, every 6 months after that first 2 months, you just shoot us a message on Patreon and remind us and let us know, hey, it's been 6 months. Give me another swag bag, because that's what you get for Patreon, and you're gonna get more autographed books. You're gonna get more, a shirt, hoodie, whatever it is. And
also it's going to be the exclusive content.
Yeah. Because everything that we put behind
starting
the paywall.
next month, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Next month
we're gonna have exclusive content that's going to be Patreon members only. If you join the members only on YouTube, that's going to, starting next month, the normal pre-record that comes out on Tuesday, which now has been moved to Thursday, that is going to be members only for the show. So if you pay $5, and you can get that, because we didn't know what to do. The members thing is on every channel.
Yeah. So
we were just doing a giveaway, and then somebody went and tattletaled and said that we were doing the giveaway for people who paid the $5. I mean, whatever. When we know who the tattletales are. Mm-hmm. So we said, okay, well, then we won't do that. So we have to do members exclusive content. So was actually suggested to us by the powers that be that we just take one of our episodes and put it behind the paywall. That's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, nice. So that's what we did. And that's what we're going to do starting next month. But if you are on the Patreon, you get an extra show, and that will go on until sometime around, I think we decided after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, there's going to be the live show. So basically after Thanksgiving, so starting in December, essentially, right?
Yeah.
One of the live streams, which will be the Wednesday live stream, will be a Patreon show. And then you'll have one extra show that will be Patreon exclusive, and that'll go on in perpetuity. Our normal pre-record will be a members only. So you'll still get free content. You'll get the Sunday show. You'll get the Monday call-in show. And then you'll get, that's it, right? And then
Yeah.
one of them is a members only, which is Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thursday's
And
members
then,
only.
then you'll have the extra show, which I think we said we're going to do Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Saturday night. So look at Tony answering. He remembers. He knows.
Yeah, I was there.
Pepperidge Farm remembers, but Tony usually doesn't. You know,
What'd you say? I forgot.
Tony. Whew,
Tony, the great knower of things.
he did. He was
Behold.
last night at the hospital. He
Behold.
was ready to fight one of them nurses. So he
Yeah.
picked the small one. Though.
Well, he's always ready to fight nurses, though.
Yeah, he ready to fight.
I mean, he doesn't like them.
Hey, man, that
He
little
hates 'em.
Filipino girl needed to come in.
That needed to come in.
I mean, it is what it is.
Well, he made an ally though. The Vietnamese.
I know
guy
this
there.
guy. She probably did deserve it. I'm just
He's
saying.
actually really cool.
He's
a
really
rock
cool.
climber.
Yeah. There was it was 50-50. There was like some people that were trying to help, and then there was the doctor and a couple nurses who were
The doctor
ass.
was rude.
They were absolute ass. You need to go back to where you come from. Okay, doctor? You don't know what you're doing. Okay? I'm just gonna call her Kamala Light. Call her that. We'll call her that. She was I would hope and pray never to get her as a doctor. The rudeness, the absolute uncaring, just unprofessional. Just can't even tell you. But like night and day when I was in there, when Nelly made me go in there like 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, time flies, dude. It was like 3 weeks
It
ago.
was.
They were really cool. I got a cool doctor. He was cool.
Yeah.
And then now this one comes in and it's, I'm going to tell you this, you come from some place that's not a good place, obviously, don't take it out on us.
Yeah.
She acted like she was a person who did not like people from here.
You should
Put
be
it that
happy
way.
that you're here.
She was a wonderful dreamer.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I had dreams that she would go back to where she came from.
Yeah.
Put it that way. And that's my right. I can say that. My sub count is in the toilet already. The tube of you is not doing anything. They're allowing these people that are mass reporting us into oblivion. But the joke's on you guys because I'm going to tell you something. The listeners that we have, that's all we need. We don't need, if nobody else ever comes to the channel, so be it. I had somebody really snarkily telling me, "Oh yeah, you're not growing. I could tell by your whatever." And I said, "We're not growing very much at all right now. We're kind of stagnant." I was like, "But we have what we need. We don't need 1 million people." And these people that are stacking subs so they can get a silver plaque from the YouTube gods, good for you. But I'm never going to do that. So when it actually does come, it may be 15 years from now at this rate. At least we know it's real. I can look at that and go, we did that. We actually did. That's a real thing. It's not something that somebody had to buy. Because I'm never going to buy fake bots, subs, none of views. We're not using the AI stories. We're not doing none of that. We still hustle. We work our butts off. We work our tails off here. And we still do our jobs too. So pray for the success of the business, the show, and most importantly, please pray for dear Nelly. If you could, please. You find it in your heart. If you want to hate somebody, hate me. Why you got to hate her? She's just defending her husband. If you think I'm a bad guy, well, then I'm the one that led him down a bad road. Attack me. No, you got to go around and attack everybody else because you can't hurt me. Ain't that right? You can make up a lot of crazy stories. Me astral, what do they call it? Not astral.
Astro projecting.
They say astro. I was astro projecting into a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
A big fat black amorphous blob appeared and scared a bunch of people. At the same time, which would make me omnipotent, right? I singed some lady's bushes. I burned her bushes.
Yeah.
I bet she wishes I'd burn her bushes. That's probably what it is. You probably looked at me and she was like, "He's burning my bushes." You wish.
I think she was burning her own bush.
I've got a fire going on down there.
Or she
was smoking some bush.
She was burning some bush. She was over there like, "Woo, this killer is straight wigging me out." Woo. Never thought I'd be so high at the age of 75.
Pass me the ganja, young man. Give me that
This
sticky,
is
sticky, sticky.
that icky. This is the ickiest, the stickiest of the icky.
Sticky.
That's what they were doing.
Oh, I know what happened. They were smoking and watching the Astro Boy.
Yeah. They were watching the Astros. The Astros were killing the freaking Orioles with payback, man. That's what they do. They're good at that. They don't like us. They don't like Texas. They don't like PRT. They don't like me. They don't like any of us. And the point of fact is, I don't care. I don't care. What's going to happen is we're going to be successful regardless. And I'm going to be real honest with you, man. Do you think getting rid of people in our group is going to make you stronger? You think it's going to make you better? You're going to do better at what you are, what you do. You know, you're still going to be what you are. And we're still going to be what we are. You know, because I'm going to tell you something, man. You've never met a person like me. I'm tough as nails. You will not stop me. You will not stop me. You can bring the spirit of every possible bad thing you could conjure up in your sick cauldrons. The spirit of death. It doesn't matter. The spirit of pain, suffering. You've visited it all on us. You visited it all on us. At the same time, you're talking out of your mouth saying, we're being attacked. Oh, we've repelled the curses. That's why they're in pain and suffering. No, you just keep throwing them. But people, trust me when I say this, they're suffering big time. It's coming back to them every time, and they're too stupid to realize. And curses don't have to be something that you cook up in a cauldron. You can do it with your mind. Every time you curse us, something bad's happening to you. You need to stop. Stop doing it. If you had half a brain that God gave an amoeba, you would quit. And you would ask for forgiveness from the one most high, the one true God, the true living God, the one that I serve, the Father of Christ. Tonight's story, I think, is very important because I talked to these two men. They're brothers, Albert and Arturo. Arturo, as we say in Spanish. But I don't always roll the R's. Sometimes I just feel like saying it like regular old white people. We say, Arturo, that guy, Arturo. Yes, thank you for that donation, Tito. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, so much.
We haven't been doing much lately with that. Nobody's really helping us because they must hate us. I'm joking. I'm kidding. No, I know it burns these people's butts when people help us. Let me tell you something. Tonight, I think Nelly telling me to get on there and do this is pivotal. And Arturo's brother, Albert, he reached out to me. Arturo's the original person I talked to.
Mm-hmm.
I started talking to Albert. Albert's this guy's really, really smart guy. Really smart guy. And they were doing security. They decided, hey, we're going to start a security company. We're going to do some whatever. But and then Arturo got real sick, and Albert said, we're going to go another direction. And he put everything on hold to take care of his brother because he had cancer, and he beat it. So it is a beatable thing. You don't, nothing is set in stone. Nothing. So what happened when, we could start when they were children. When they were children, they're 2 years apart. They're 2 years and 1 day apart. They're the middle children. They have an older sister and a baby sister, and it's them two in the middle. And both of them, this is funny. When you talk to people that are siblings, you get different perspectives. Talking to Arturo, he's like, my mother really favored my baby sister, but really, really Albert was her favorite. So then I talked to Albert, and Albert said, without being prompted, and it's true, Albert, don't say, without being prompted, he says, my mother, she loved me. I know she loved me, but really her favorite was Arturo. He said that my baby sister. So the older sister, she didn't get no love. Felt bad for her. No love for her. I'm not going to even talk about her. So here's the thing we got to do. We're not going to talk about the part of San Antonio, because when I started talking about how I was going to tell this encounter, they didn't want me to talk about where this place was because it might lead them back to then. Albert has a very high profile job right now working on a military base. He's got clearance. His brother has a very good job too. He does security for the school system, right? So I'm not going to say where, what, or how, and it's not in San Antonio, but he works for an ISD now. He's an armed guard for an ISD. You have this older sister who's got a really high level of clearance. She does something for the Air Force there. I'll say that. And the younger sister, she actually owns a nightclub. So we're going to put it that we're going to leave it at that. Her and her husband, but she bought it herself. She did it herself. Very smart, very industrious family. So shout out to these people for getting to where they're at in life. They're a Hispanic family. They come from San Antonio, but they used to live in Corpus for a while. And Arturo, the younger brother, he's the one that got a job doing security, and he proved his mettle. He used to work at a club down, it's a heavy metal club. You probably know what it is, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
And he learned how to fight and do things. He boxed. And I know one of the coaches down there that used to train him. And that's how I got this story. I didn't just fall into it. A friend of mine, shout out to Mingo. Mingo tells me, hey, he always talks like this, man. Mingo's like, hey, man, I know this Vato. And he calls everybody a Vato. It could be a black guy, a white guy, or somebody from Sudan, you know. It could be somebody from Laos.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Vato. He's an Asian Vato.
Vato and Way.
Way, yeah. And so he's a straight up Cholo. I've known him for, what is 97? How many years is that?
28.
Is it 28 years? So shout out to Mingo. Mingo says, hey, man, I got this guy who be on that spooky show of yours. You do a good job for me. He's got a scary story, man. I said, really? I said, because, you know, Squid told me that the other day, and the guy that I talked to, he's just like, yeah, I saw a ghost at Driscoll. And I told Squid's like, I really thought it was going to hit, man. I really thought it was. Yeah, well, it didn't.
Gotta work on the delivery there.
Yeah. Kind of like Willie. Willie has some scary stories, but if he tells you, you start to go, you know, I love Willie, but you got to make it more. He like, and then the ghost choked me, tried to kill me, and I almost died. And you're like, that doesn't sound scary at all. It sounds like you were asleep. You know, some people, they'll put them on those shows, and they'll be like, this thing wanted to kill me. You know, Willie be like, yeah, they wanted to kill me, stuff like that. Like, dude, you were sleeping outside in your car. You were so scared to go inside the house.
I always thought it was cool how you could always understand. How you could always understand exactly what he was saying because you knew him for so long. But like he would talk to me a lot, and like I could understand like 80% of it, but I had to piece it together. But then like he'd do the same thing to you, and you'd be like, oh yeah, definitely. Like, and you knew everything he said.
Well, yeah, because we were so close.
Yeah.
Me and Diablo and Scorpion could always understand what he said. Right?
He reads like lines of code, basically.
I remember one
Like a
time him and
teleprompter.
Squid, like when Uber first became a thing, him and Squid took an Uber together. And Squid, you know, he's like us. He's been Willie forever. And so Chico told me the story. You know, Chico, I was talking to him the other day. We were on the phone. He's living down in Mexico City, but he's about ready to freaking. So get this. So he's got some property down there, and the government's basically telling him that he's got to pay him a bunch of money to keep it, and he's already paying taxes. How does that work?
Wow.
And they want to talk about how this isn't the greatest country, whatever. It may not be the greatest country, but at least they're not reacquisitioning your property like communists.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chico and me were talking. He's getting ready. He's a citizen here. He's getting ready to move back. He's like, I'm done with this crap. He's trying to wrestle. He has that the wrestling thing down there. He's a luchador. You know, a lot of people might know him if I say his real name, but I'm not going to. I said it before. Go look it up. We have 1,000 episodes. Figure it out. But he literally, you know, he literally told me. He says, "Man," he goes, "Did Squid ever tell you that story about when him and Willie was in the Uber together? And the Uber driver, he's some foreign guy. He don't know what the. And Willie's over there. Willie been drinking." And Willie would only get mean. He's a big black dude. Everybody gets scared because big black guy's mad, you know.
Yeah.
It's Willie, you know. We're like, hey, man, I told you, you know, and the guy's like, I don't understand you. And Squid's back there looking at his phone like, Squid's like, oh, let me translate. Willie got mad. He goes, I don't need no translator. I don't need no translator. And Squid's like, look, man. And then so Squid literally videoed himself doing it. He goes, slapping my fire, sending my job, moving the hard to do it. Willie got so mad. Willie got mad. He's like, man, yo, stop this car before I whoop both y'all. Stop this car before I whoop both y'all. And Squid's like, you ain't finna whoop my ass. They start talking crap. The guy he stops the car and makes him get out right there on South First. So then my brother went to go pick him up, you know, And I remember my brother said, "Hey, man," he goes, "I guess they got a ride from some kind of service or something." And my brother comes in, he goes, "Can you give me the keys?" We had 2 trucks. I was playing video games.
Yeah.
Go do whatever. You know? The next day, or actually, we were talking about it. We were at that La Posada, our favorite restaurant, and he's in there. Thank you, Debbie. We greatly appreciate that. We
It's
really
generous
do.
of you, Debbie. Thank
Especially
you
in
so
this
much.
time.
Thanks so much.
And I just remember, and sorry for the lighthearted talk here, folks. I got to do something here to get started here. But I just remember we were eating, and R.H. tells Willie, he goes, only we can understand you, right? He said, that ain't true. My brother and 2 of my sisters understand. I said, your brother, 2 of them, not all of them, the 2 of them. And your brother Rod understands you. Rod can understand him, right? Rod would translate.
It's like Kenny from South Park.
Yeah.
Just thinking of that scene in airplanes. So I speak a little jive.
Yeah, that's what Ford was doing. Yeah. So, but it's funny because we're all so close.
Mhm.
It's like nobody. If you want a lesson in not being racist or being biased or whatever, look at our group. It's very ethnically diverse, but we're so close, and we can say things to each other like, like Noga and stuff and all them. They're all black. I could say things and get away with it that other people say they beat the hell out of them. Like I could say things to Squid. Look, he's a Navy SEAL. I call him a squid. You're supposed to talk like that to them.
Yeah.
You call him a squid, it's a derogatory. He hates that. So he calls him that. You say, "Oh, you're gonna call me that?" Like he would get mad and want to fight. It's a difference with us. We're like brothers.
Yeah.
But it's just. But other people, you say something, they'll be like ready to fight because they don't know you like that, and they'll tell you. They'll be like, "I don't know you like that. I saw something popping off on social media the other day." A chief and somebody, and I said, "You better watch it." And I told them, I said, "You don't know you. Me and him could go back and forth. We cuss each other out. He don't know you that way. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's going to choke you out. I'm telling you, and he's pretty good at what he does." I said, "You better be ready because this guy he can fight. These aren't punks. You're talking to like some goofy person in the street or something. You know what I mean?" And this other guy, "Well, I'm a fighter. Yeah, I'm a fighter. You're a fighter. Yeah, let's see what you got before you start talking all that mess, how you're going to go do this and do that." But there's a lot of love there between us, and I miss Willie a lot. He was a really good friend of mine, very close. He really liked Nellie a lot. He thought the world of her, and he really told me that she helped me change. He's like, he made it, he exaggerated. He told Nellie like I was just out beating people up in the street. Okay, I was beating people up in the street. Look, the point is though, I changed. I was already on the road to change, or Nellie wouldn't have come to me. She wouldn't have come down here, been with some ruffian that's just out there fighting around the world,
Yeah.
I mean, y'all looking at me like I'm lying. I am not lying. Y'all know I've changed.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Look, you're trying to mess with me, dude. Stop.
Like before Nelly came, we only would tie people to our trucks like a couple times a week. We
Oh,
never did it all the time.
Yeah.
God, dude.
I remember before Nelly came, he would beat us like 3 times a week, but now it's just like
Just for fun.
just like a monthly beating now,
Before Nelly came, we weren't allowed inside restaurants because we were confrontational.
Yeah, and we get to eat now.
You get
Now
to
that-
eat now. Look at me.
Now that Nelly came, we get to eat
Such a good example.
and we get to drink clear water now instead of like the murky brown
Yeah,
stuff.
that water
You got to drink clear water?
by the creek down there by the at the domain.
I'm still on toilet
That's what
water.
we used to drink.
That's your choice. That's my choice.
No, it just brings me closer to my Vietnamese heritage.
Oh my God. Horrible, dude. Well, let's get back on track here. So anyway, I had a good time talking to these 2 guys, brothers, Arturo and I also talked to their brother-in-law, who is their baby sister's husband. He's a pretty cool guy, man, and I kind of get his vibe too. He's a pretty good guy. Here's the thing: when somebody starts talking, and you gotta, he said this is the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me, and he goes, and there was a few incidents I had. He goes, I can relate. He said our mutual friend Mingo told us about you. He's still working security, doing stuff down. He used to work at this club down in San Antonio. Well, a couple of different ones, but one was really bad. Like I went in there to visit, and we were like, "Whoa, I don't know these people." Like if I was in Austin, I could be like, "Okay, I know." I don't know these people fighting. I don't know who these people are. And I told him, I said, hey, thanks, but maybe if you start working at another place, I'll go hang out. Not that place. I'm good. Because I don't know these people, man. Same thing happened with my friend Marshall when he was working in Houston. I go over there and I literally watched a guy get stabbed on a motorcycle. The guy was on a motorcycle, like revving his motorcycle, and this other guy comes up and starts stabbing this dude.
Jeez.
And the dude got off the motorcycle, whooped his ass, and damn near bled to death and went to the hospital. Found out that he lived. This was in East San Antonio, East Houston. And I'm just like, I told my friend, I was like, oh, I was like right there as he just started doing it. And I was like, man, dude, because you don't know these people, man. Nobody's messing with me. But I don't want to be like somewhere and get shot, stabbed, hit with a bottle or something. Those kind of places they hang out, right? So you could imagine Arturo used to work there at this place where I didn't want to go to. And he said, I mean, like, not like I was scared, but I couldn't take y'all. You know what I mean? I'd be having to watch you. It'd be like, it was just not comfortable at all. And so he saw some really bad stuff happen in these places. He saw a guy get his head cracked open with a chain. Like, this is the kind of place he was working at.
Jeez.
And he said, dude, I nearly shot a guy. I had to get him out of his car at gunpoint, and it was bad. He worked as a bouncer and as security there. So 2 days a week, he would bounce over there and help and do it in on 5 days a week. He was doing the armed security. So it was a rough place, really, really bad place. But this stuff that happened to him at this one particular site was worse than anything that ever happened to him. So his boss calls him and he says, hey, do you want to work a couple nights, over at this tow yard? And he says, yeah, let me see, because they had cut his hours at the club because they were, couldn't pay 2 armed guards. Mm-hmm. So the other guy had seniority, so he understood. He said, in 2 days, he wanted to work 7 days a week. He's a hardworking guy. And so his boss tells him, he says, why don't you, before you go work at this site, he goes, why don't you just take a night and go and train with the guy that's working that site? And then you'll decide whether you want to do it or not. And he says, okay. So his boss was cool. He paid him to just go and work an entire night, which most companies ain't going to do that. And so he let him go and work there. And he starts the shift with this guy. He said the guy was very eccentric. That's putting it mildly. He said the guy was damn near OCD, just to the max. And the guy said when he did his rounds, he would stop and he would make the sign of the cross and he would kiss his rosary, which he wore and held when he did his rounds. And he left this one area of the junkyard or tow yard, or it's kind of both. Like, he didn't mess with it. He just kind of went around it, and he's going like, why is he doing this? Mm-hmm. So he asked, the guy's name was Vincent. He says, Vincent, let me ask you a question. He says, what is that? Why are we, he said, that area right there belongs to them. Arturo told me, he goes, man, I thought this guy, it's like, this guy's, he's crazy, man. What's wrong with this Vato, man? There's something wrong with his mind. And he says, coming from the background, he goes, and knowing the people that I know who he knows, I know some of them, there's some really tough guys. And a couple of these guys, you would probably consider them very animalistic. Okay, by normal standards. Being in their line of work, you would become that way. And one of our mutual friends is a bounty hunter, and he's a very efficient bounty hunter. And I would hate to have him on me because he's going to get you. He's going to find you. And so he said, I went on a ride along with him, a couple times, and it got really freaky. He goes, this of all the things that happened, this took the cake. He said, I think I'll be fine. And that guy says, are you sure? Vincent tells him, he says, he's an older guy. He's like, 62 years old, and this is when, Arturo was in his 30s. This guy's like twice his age. And he says, I'm fine. Okay. He said, do whatever you do. Don't walk into that area over there. The guy that was working with them that night at the tow yard, he asked this guy when Vincent went out to do one of his rounds, he said, I'm going to use the restroom. And so he kind of played it off. Went in there, took a leak, came back out. He sat down, started talking to the guy that worked there. And he said, look, man, this guard here, I don't know if he's flown over the cuckoo's nest or if something's really happening here. What do you know about this dark area over here? Because it wasn't lit up. It was really dark. And he says, and why is it dark over there? He said, okay, he goes, I'm going to tell you something. The guy just kind of turns in his chair, And he swivels to him and he tells him, he says, look, he says, I'm going to be real honest. You know, he goes, that dark area over there, we stay away from it. Why? And the guy kind of puts his hand on his head, and Arturo says, dude, this guy started rubbing his head like something had hit him. He goes, I don't like talking about it. He's like, but you're going to be working here. I'm going to tell you, Vincent's been here for 4 years, almost 4 years. He's like, he's gotten used to it. Anytime we have another guard, and you know, he's been working every day for a long time. We get another person that comes here, they can't handle it. He said, I would like to tell you that this isn't real, but it is. And when I first started working here, I had never seen anything like this. He goes, I come from Bandera. It's not a real big town. This is a guy that worked there. He said, but I knew ghost stories and things like that. I'd heard of Bigfoot and all this other stuff. Anybody lives out there, there's always Bigfoot stories. He said, this is bizarre, what I'm going to tell you. He says, but that area is cursed. He said, it was always kind of a bad area. And he goes, well, why do y'all have it dark? He goes, we can't leave a light on. The light will go out. It'll literally pop. He said it really got bad over the last few years when there was an incident that happened. And I have to be very careful about when I talk about this because these people have family and I don't want to get sued or get messed with. So I have to be very careful about the way I word this. He said there was a guy that was exceedingly evil that died in a car wreck. He had a girl with him. He goes, and I'll give you the information and you can do your own work or whatever. You can figure it out. Talk to Vincent. I don't want to talk about it anymore. He said, but if you're going to work here, just avoid that area. He says, well, what about the fence line? He goes, you can go up to the edge and look and make sure the fence line is good. But he goes, management will understand. He goes, we put all of the cars of deceased people in that area of the junkyard. Right. And he told him, he said, just stay away from that dark area. You'll be fine. And he goes, okay. So he's just kind of like, you know, I guess I'm going to be staying away from the spooky spot, you know, whatever. And he says, don't do that. He goes, don't make jokes. Don't make light of it. This is not a funny thing. Nothing. He goes, and if you tease it or mess with it, stuff can happen to you. He goes, and I'm going to be real honest. He goes, I don't expect to see you back here by the end of the night. Something will probably happen and you won't want to be here. And Vincent will just have to keep working here until we can find somebody else. That was like a challenge. And Arturo was like, he goes, you know, that pissed me off, man. He said just like that. He goes, no, man. He goes, for real, man. No mentiras. He goes, he pissed me off, dude. I wanted to smack this guy, man. I'm like, who is this guy? You know, you don't know me, man. You know? And I get it. You know, machismo, right? Mucho corazón. You have a lot of heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Puro corazón. You're going to throw some chingazos on the fantasmos, right? Right? But that's not how this goes, right? You can tell yourself whatever you want. You can psych yourself up. But in the moment of truth, we'll see what happens, right? So, of course, him thinking that he's really tough. And by his own admission, he says, I thought I was this tough guy, you know, puffed up with pride, boxed. I said everybody in San Antonio boxes, bro. And you'll cheat. You cheat. I'm going to tell you that right now. I won. I'm not going to get into it. Got rooked. Let's put it that way. I said everybody boxes, bro. Everybody's tough over there. It's a tough city. It's like El Paso, you know, or the Valley. Those are some tough ass Mexicans out there. I'm going to tell you. But being tough in the flesh doesn't mean that you're tough in the spirit, because being tough in the spirit requires you to be with Christ. That's my opinion. If you don't like it, well, you can change the channel. If you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. I'm not pushing it on you. And I'm going to tell you this. When he literally worked, when he started working there, he literally, it's like night and day. He said it was like a switch. Like literally, he goes, the fear set in the first night I was there. He goes, when I was there with Vincent, he goes, I saw a shadow. He's like, we were walking and we were going, this part was like on the east side of the property. He said, we walked right by it. He goes, I saw a man that looked like he was wearing like a jacket or a coat walk out from that dark property. And he goes, just ignore him. Tells him, just ignore him. And he tells Vince, he says, you see it? He goes, yeah, I see it. He's praying, holding he goes, I do my rounds. I don't let it bother me. He goes, all the people that work here, they've seen it. They know. He said, these new guys will come and be like, hey, there's somebody wandering around out there. Or they'll see him on camera. He said, but the guy that works inside, I'm not going to say his name. He said, that guy, he's been here for a few years now. He's used to it. That's why we're always here. Because the other people, they try to get to come and take our place while we're off, that something happens, they freak out, they leave. Now we're going to get into some of the stories that Vincent told them. They go back inside, they're sitting down, and Vincent tells them, he says, before they're eating their lunch, it's middle of the night, like 3 a.m. And he tells them, he says, before you take over for me, I need you to know something. He's like, there are people that will come out of that area. What are his exact words? And you'll figure out real quick, these are not living people. The guy in the chair, he turns around and he starts talking, telling him a story. Now, Arturo is pretty observant. He says, what happened to you not wanting to talk about it? He goes, I'll talk about it when Vincent's here. And we're all here. He goes, but once he leaves, we're not talking about it. But I'm going to tell you what happened to me. He said, one night it was pouring down rain. And San Antonio doesn't get a lot of rain, but when it does, it can flood real quick like it did recently.
Yeah.
He said it was pouring down rain. And we get a fatality that came in off of 410 in San Antonio, right? He goes, they bring it in to the tow yard. He's like, and he goes, and their lot is not near 410. It was, the first place that they were going to take it to was full, so they went several miles further down. And they said that that night it was bad. He remembers like there being several fatalities. Well, it makes sense. In the middle of the night, it starts pouring rain. San Antonio is not used to it. A lot of people start wrecking, right? So he said that they brought this car in. He goes, and it was bad. It was mangled up. It was messed up. And the person that was driving it had been star-flighted to the hospital where he later was pronounced deceased. He said that this is his like second week here, right? The car is out there. He goes, next day he's working in the evening, and there was a young lady working with him. And he says that he gets a knock on the glass. He opens the glass and he sees this guy that's kind of nervous standing there looking around. He's smoking a cigarette. He says, I'm here to pick up my car. So obviously this was the guy that owned the car that. And he said the guy just looked shocked in his face, but sad, like all the color drained out of his face. And he says, yeah, I need to pick it up. And he's like, he goes, tells him the car, whatever. He says, yeah, we have that car, but it was a total loss. It's in the junkyard, part of the tow yard. I can't release it to you unless you present your ID, everything. So the guy says, I'll be right back. Guy turns around and goes down off the steps. It wasn't raining this night. This was, the regular night, whatever. And he said the girl that was there looks down and she goes, there's blood all over this freaking deck right here. This man goes out, opens the door and goes out there and he sees there's a trail of blood following this guy. And the guy goes and he's walking out to the street. Appears to be on his cell phone talking to somebody. And he's watching this guy. He's watching him. He goes and he turns back to the girl and they start kind of talking and they look again and the guy is gone. He's not there. He's like, I remember all of the specifics about this guy and how he was dressed. He goes, so my boss comes in the morning. I talked to him and I said, hey, there's a guy that came over here looking for this car, blah, 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 blah. He starts describing this dude. He says, yeah, we already have a description of the person that was the car, that they were going to come and get it. And he said that, there's this guy's brother. The guy, he says, when the guy comes back today, I talked to him. We'll see if it's the same guy and what he looks like. We'll confirm it, right? So he comes back in that night and his boss and he was bottom man on the totem pole. So everybody was his boss, but he had his immediate boss and the owner. They were there. He goes, and they were just like, they said, you're not going to believe this. Okay. You need to sit down. He said, for some reason, that tow yard was notorious for getting these really bad wrecks. Right. And he says, look, this happens pretty regularly, but you're new to this, so we're going to explain to you. When this guy came up to get the car, he presented an ID and his brother's ID of the person. He was the person that died. He said that you could look at that ID. He goes, and we took a picture of it and we scanned it. And he says, take a look at this ID and tell me if that's the guy you saw last night. And he said, that's him. He said, that's his brother. The guy that came doesn't look like him. He kind of does, but not really. And he goes, well, that guy died in that wreck. And he goes, well, there was blood all over the deck. He's like, yeah, I know you told me that, but we didn't see any. And he goes, well, we didn't clean it up. We just left it there because we just, we didn't want to mess with it. We didn't know what was going on. So he literally had a conversation with a dead guy that was looking for his car. Car that he had lost was a very nice, tricked out sports car. Mm-hmm. And by his brother's own admission, he liked to drive way too fast. And he lost control. Speed racing with some friends, which is very popular in San Antonio. And then they all bailed and just left him there to die. So the young man lost his life. So this is this guy's second week there. This is kind of his introduction to this reality. And then he tells Arturo, he says, this wasn't the last time something like that happened. He said there was another time a guy had been shot in his car, and they brought the car in, and you could see the bullet holes. There was a guy that was working for the tow yard. He was bringing a car in, and when he got out, he saw a guy sitting in the car messing with the instruments, and he tells him, hey, you can't be in that car. You need to get out of that car. Because when the guy turns his head, like the whole left side was gone. Oh. And like you could see the bullet holes in this guy. And the guy was like, help me, and then just disappears. So that guy tells this story to him. He says, if you want to know the whole story, the guy still works here. So Arturo, because I'm a very inquisitive guy, he goes, first night I'm there by myself, I meet this guy. And I said, what do you know about this over there? And the guy's like low in the car or whatever. He goes, let me tell you something. He's like, just stay away from that area. He goes, I've worked 3 different tow yards. They all have a dark area where you don't want to go. We know that. Mm-hmm. We did a little bit in one of them. We went, checked it out. And you could feel it. And that guy that worked there, he told us, he goes, I don't go over there at all. And I just walked to the fence, and that you could feel it. Like it was, the hair was standing up. There was, 3 people that had died in the one car, you could feel it. And so he said, this guy, he tells him, he's like, this place has got some really bad energy. He's like, but there's been some that was a lot worse than others. He goes, obviously the guy that got shot, he goes, and somebody came and they took that car. This is what he told him. They took that car and they stripped the parts. They bought the parts for it because we parted out, right? He said that guy's car flipped with his wife and kids in it. Oh. Right near San Angelo. I can't remember the name of it. It starts with an S. It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, he was driving and he said he flipped the car. Right? Not San Angelo. Amarillo. Sorry, it does start with an S. But he's like, what is this? Tell us vampire story. Dude, okay, boot this guy. See ya. See you, guy. Get rid of him. We're not playing games today.
I got him.
Go back to Oklahoma. Yeah, I'll take one. Hold on one second, folks. So the guy tells me, and if you stick around, you're gonna hear a lot of crazy stuff. This place was it's a hot spot. And since then, I was told about another guy who worked there for a while as a driver. So I'm gonna interview him because he's got some other stuff too, and he can give us a little more insight into one of these accounts that was given to us. So he said that we parted that car out, you know, and so he said there were 3 different people in particular that had bought something, and every one of them's vehicle had something bad happen. One of them, they hit ice and they flew. That was when they're in Amarillo. And a couple of them ended up just having wrecks. And one of them's car got brought into the tow yard and it became a fatality too. He goes, and that one happened near south of San Antonio. He said that, you know, the one near Amarillo, obviously they didn't show up in their tow yard. But he did say that that person contacted them and said that they were like saying, well, these parts might have been faulty and blah, blah, blah. And they said, that's not, you know, we sell as is. It's not, you know, so they hear about these wrecks. The guy that owned that tow yard before the guy that owned it when Arturo was working there, he died in that tow yard too.
Oh, dang.
Because one of these cars wasn't set right and it fell. And so he didn't die instantly. He died in the hospital. But it was the cause of it. Now, after that, that guy's wife and his son said, we're done with this place, and they sold it. There was also a tow driver that was coming out of the, and this happens too. It's happened here in Austin. A buddy of mine owns a tow yard here in Austin, and this has happened. An employee ended up actually doing this to another employee, but this guy was closing the gate. People get mad when you take their car.
Oh, yeah.
And it is Texas. And
Dangerous.
this guy was coming out of the gate, getting to go back into his car, and these 2 guys pull up. They jump out, sawed-off shotgun, blew him damn near in half. And he died right there by the gate. Not the first or the last person to die there. Another guy was literally stabbed to death by 2 females.
Jeez.
Yeah, after he had taken one, but it didn't happen there. He was picking it up, you know. And they came out, and one of them stuck him, and then he tried to fight back, and another girl stuck him. He got stuck in the neck, and that's what did it. So rough place, rough area, rough people, rough trade. This is part of the business. If something happens to you while you're working as a repo guy, it's par for the course. It's like being a drug dealer, like being a cop or a security guard or whatever, firefighter. You know the risks. There's going to be a risk involved in doing your job. Simple as that. I've known lots of repo guys. In fact, Thule worked for us for years. He's one of my good friends. But it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You're stealing for a living. And so people get towed, they get repoed. There's wrecks. They get, all kinds of stuff happen. People are highly emotional. They freak out. They do all kinds of stuff. A guy that worked there got shot. He didn't die, but he got shot through the window by an irate person that had their car towed. He said it was a guy that looked like a college kid. You would never think that he would do it. And he just whips his gun out from behind his waistband and just bam, bam, bam. A 38 special and shot the guy 3 times, but he lived. The guy lived. He goes, and I met him. He came up there one night and was hanging out with the guy that worked there. They were roommates at one time. They were friends. He said, this place is dangerous, very dangerous. And they call the area of the tow yard the darkness. That's what they call it. And they call the yard the demon yard. It's a very rough, bad place, very haunted. Years ago, when the guy that owned it before, the guy that owns it now, he bought it from another guy back in the 50s. When he bought it, he took all of those old cars that were there just sitting there and auctioned a bunch of them off because there was a lot of valuable stuff like from the 50s and 60s. It was sitting there. And the guy was like, just give me 150, take it. I don't care. Do whatever you want. And just whatever's there. He said the parts and the auction alone that he sold for that was like 5 times as much as what he paid. And it took him like 2 weeks. But he said that they found bones, like a skeleton, buried underneath some of those cars that had probably been there since like the 40s.
There's a lot of secrets out there.
Yeah. And he told the guy that owned it, and the guy that owned it says, I have no clue. He goes, there have been people that have broken in. They've done all kinds of stuff, He's like, there's no telling what that is. obviously it was a homicide, but they couldn't prove who it was or what it was. So, and that he bought it back in the 90s from this guy. And then that guy sold it in the early 2000s. He'd had enough. He was like, this is enough. You know, there's too much crap here. It's a bad area. So fast forward to this guy, right? The modern day, which is just several years ago. And Arturo says, he said, I was there walking around. It was my third night. Nothing really weird happened. You know, I saw a shadow, but it wasn't so, you know, like where I was like running for my life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the third night, he goes, I go out there, and he goes in right next to the darkness. There's this kind of lit light, this area that's lighted, it's lit up. And actually, he did say light it up, and it's not correct. But anyway, he said it's lighted up, but it's lit up.
It's lit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna blame Arturo. I'm gonna blame you, Arturo, for
all
messing me
lit
up.
up.
Don't be messing me up, man.
Way to go.
Yeah, way to go. Way to go. That's what you get for working. Why would you work in a haunted tow yard? It's shame on you. Okay.
Hope you're proud of yourself.
Hope you're proud of yourself. You think you're tough, huh? Working in a haunted tow yard, huh? So he ends up, this guy is sitting on one of these cars. He says it's a classic car. It's a really nice car. You could see it. And he goes, and I go by there. He goes, and there's a guy sitting there. He goes, you could see him swinging his legs like he's just, you know, just chilling. He's like, and I'm sitting, I'm stunned. I was like, you could see the silhouette of a man. He goes, and I walk over there, and I said, hey, man, you can't be in here. And he said, the guy turns and whips his head around. He goes, and he had red eyes. Not like eyes that needed Visine, but like red fireball eyes. And he goes, and this thing looked at him. He said it lowered its head, kept swinging his legs, you know, like a normal person. And it kind of made a hissing noise, like, shh, you know. He said, man, he goes, I thought I was going to faint. He goes, I'm a big guy. And he's a big dude. He's a weightlifter. He's a pretty tough guy. Big old arms, you know. And he says, man, I thought I was going to fall over dead. He said, this guy, whatever he was not a human being. It was a black shadow being. He's like, and I put my light on him, and he just sat there staring at me. He goes, and the light did not penetrate. You know how it penetrates the darkness and brings the light, you know? He said, my mag light didn't do that. It's like this absorbed the light. He's like, and then it jumped down off of the car. He goes, and I ran back inside. He's like, and the guy that was in there, he's on the phone with his girlfriend, you know, like, oh, yeah, you know. He's like, this guy's not even paying attention. He goes, and I'm over there breathing, like trying to not hyperventilate. And he said, I felt like I was going to go unconscious. And so he said that it was, you know, a very profound experience for me. He goes, I had seen stuff before, but not like that. And so he says, you know, I debated at that point if I should leave and not come back, not work there. And he made the conscious decision. He says, I'm going to stay. I'm going to tough it out. I need the work. It's a couple nights a week because I felt bad for Vince, the guy that was, you know, the old man that was working there. He's like, I don't know how he did it. He goes, so the next day, he's like, I called Vince during the day, and Vince was like, yeah, what's going on? He says, man, I need to talk to you. He goes, and as fate would have it, we didn't live that far from each other. He goes, where do you live? And San Antonio's a big city. You know, he goes, well, I live such and such. And he goes, you know, I don't live very far from you. We only live like 3 miles. Why don't we meet at this restaurant over here? And he goes, okay. So he brings his brother along, right? And this guy, Vince, brings his wife. They began to tell him how they deal with this kind of stuff. They literally, he carries holy water on him. He puts it on his body before he goes in. And he goes, you don't remember me telling you all these? He says, I don't. He said, that makes sense. He goes, that darkness will keep you from knowing the light. Very devout, very Christian, he's Catholic. But he tells them, he says, you need to be protected by the Holy Spirit. He goes, I have a rosary. It's been blessed. He's like, and I use, you know, holy water. He's like, I say my prayers before I go out there. I say my prayers when I come back. I say Hail Mary. All this different stuff. He was telling, he goes, yeah, he told me all this stuff, you know, and he goes, and I'm thinking, I'm being hard-headed. I'm like, I'm not going to do all that. I'll say a prayer before I go to work. That's it. He said the next week he goes, 2 days. He said, and I realized when I was young, I probably am predisposed to this stuff because I had seen stuff before, but nothing on this level. He goes, and my brother Albert was way, way worse. He was way more like stuff happened to me. It was because of Albert. Albert was always having stuff happen to him, and I was around. So he said that he went through this tow yard every time. He goes, I would just say the prayer real quick, and just kind of walk through and hope for the best. He said, and then one day, he goes, I was walking through, and it was a Saturday night. I was there Friday and Saturday. It was rough. That's when real active. And he had this guy that was there. He goes, I'll never forget, he was a Jamaican dude. He stood out like a sore thumb because there's not many Jamaicans in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
There are here, But he says, heavily Hispanic city, but there was this Jamaican guy who worked there. He was a big guy. And he told him, he says, man, he goes, have you seen the devil? And he tells him, he goes, what do you mean? He goes, we call it the devil. And there were 3 drivers right there, and they were just starting their shift. He goes, it looks like a wolf. Some say it looks like a dog, but it's the devil is what we call it. And he tells him, he says, if you whistle, and he told him specifically how to do it, he's like, it'll come out. And so Arturo's like, well, why the hell would I want to do that? He says, so one of these guys that was working there, this guy was evil. He said, I'm not going to lie. He goes, everybody was afraid of him. He had a big old goat head pentagram on his chest, and you could see it through his shirt, right?
Like tattooed?
Yeah, it was tattooed on it. And he said that he had a necklace, a little necklace that he wore, and it said 666 on there. He was a Hispanic dude. And he said he had these tattoos on him, they were real nasty stuff. And he said, this guy tells him, he goes, he had all the teardrops, he'd been in the penitentiary 8 times or what, standard crap, whatever. He tells him, he goes, I'll call it for you. And he goes, no, I'm good. I don't want that. And he's like, what, are you scared? And he goes, yeah, I am. And he goes, you can't be scared of your homes if you're scared. He goes, so he goes out to the edge of the yard when he's doing his first round. It was still daylight. And this pendejo, the one that worships the devil, whatever, he comes out there with him. And he said that he whistles 3 times. He goes, you're good to go tonight. And he walks off. And the other 2 drivers are shaking their head. They're like, why did you do that? And he goes, because I'm evil. And he walks off, gets in his truck and goes. He said at that point, he was a little unnerved. And Arturo said, I'm going to tell you. And this is the story initially that he sent me. Mingo had told him, hey, this guy, he researched this stuff. And then, and I've known Mingo for years. And so he said, this guy's got a story. This is the original story. But I dug deeper and I got more. As Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. He said, 3rd round of the night, I'm going by this darkness, he goes, and I don't just do a round every hour. I do a couple an hour. He said, but the 3rd time going by the darkness. He goes, I try to every
Avoid
other
it.
round. Yeah, he goes, I only go by it every other round. So Arturo tells me, he says, man, I'm walking by. He goes, and I hear this growling noise. He's like, Vincent had told me never to whistle in that tow yard. I'd be fine. Well, this Barboso did it. He said, he goes, the whole left side of my body, like the hair, everything was standing up. He goes, and I realized I was kind of too close to the darkness, so I kind of moved over, and I went into the light. He goes, and I hear, he goes, and then I hear like something is jumping on these smushed vehicles, these smashed up vehicles. He's like, and then I hear something hit the ground like a thud. He's like, and I didn't even look. Something told me to pray. Don't look. He's like, but for whatever reason, he goes, and this is a very real thing, folks. And listen to what I'm going to tell you. There are people who are confronted with evil like this. And thank you to everybody who's donated. If I didn't mention, thank you so much. But this is something that happens to people when they're confronted with demons. They get afraid because that demon basically tells you, don't pull out that weapon. It won't help you. The weapon is the power of Christ. The weapon is God. And they warn you. they'll tell you, don't do it. Don't do it. I won't hurt you if you don't. If you do that, then I'm gonna do something. And then they get afraid. They're like, oh, I better not make it mad. I better not call out in the name of Christ, because if I do, then this outlaw is going to draw down on me. Folks, let me tell you something. That's a huge mistake. It doesn't matter. They're going to draw down on you anyway. They're liars, deceivers. They just try to trick you into giving them a free meal. Don't do it. That's what they tell you. I say this, do it. The minute you feel anything, you got to say, I rebuke you in the name of Christ. This is what I told Arturo. You got to say it. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I denounce you. I renounce any power, any hold you have over me. I have not invited you here. You don't belong here. Your power is no good here. I tie, bind, and rebuke you in the name of Jesus. But he didn't do that. He just, even though the Holy Spirit was convicting him to do it, he kept walking away. Big mistake. He says, I didn't realize what the devil looked like. And I said, well, for you, what did it look like? He says, when I was turned around doing my rounds, I look across the yard and I could see this thing. It's standing there. He goes, it's black. It's moving around in the shadows, and then it comes out. He said, it looked like a dog, sort of, like a black hellhound. And he asked me this. He said, have you ever seen a Cane's Corso? And I said, yeah, of course I had. A friend that had one. It was a very, very scary dog. The dog was cool with me. Apparently it attacked everybody else, but it didn't attack me. I mean, he was a big teddy bear with me. I actually babysat him too, and he played with my Mastiff. But everybody else was like, oh, he's scary. Probably because you're giving off that energy. When you give off a fear energy, dogs do what they do. They're predators. We turned them into pets, but they revert sometimes to their predatorial nature. You got to be an alpha. You can't play around with a dog. Trust me. He said the head kind of looked like this Cane's Corso looking thing. Are those my chips?
Yep. I try to tell him not to do it.
Why are you eating? You don't even like those hot ones. What are you doing?
I told him, I said, those
you
are
should have got
wolves.
those baby ones that have the sugar in them. You know,
I mean, I didn't know that I like these though.
those are my Taiwanese chips. Why
Those
are
are
you
way-
doing that?
Those are his favorite.
I thought we had a bunch of these at the house.
Folks, I want you to know, no, I only have a couple left. I want
No.
you to know that, let it be known that this man is eating my food. And as you can say, I am starving.
Payback.
I've already started. I might as well finish.
But you know what'll fix that? Join the Patreon, and it'll be all good. We'll let him slide here. So now I got to bring some more to work. That's all right. Never mind. Y'all been
Never
taking my
ends,
stuff since y'all were kids. You're still doing it. So anyways, he says, he goes, I turn around, there's this black thing, and it's got these little, he said the ears weren't real big, and it was like these little pointy ears, right? He said, and this thing had like this kind of like head that kind of jutted out, like the squared off jaw. If you've ever heard Bettina Moss's encounter about this thing, that is, something that I wondered about, like maybe, I don't know. I also need to get a hold of another guy because I got a story near Youngstown, Ohio, that was very similar. Something that was coming up like a drainage ditch, kind of looks like this. So I thought that was interesting. So there's a couple different critters looking kind of the same, and I get the story literally about 2 weeks apart. So this thing, it's got its sights set on him. He goes, it's like it's watching me. It's looking at me. He's like, and I don't know what this thing is. He goes, I couldn't see the body as much as I could see the head. He goes, and then it stepped out from the darkness, and I saw it kind of drop down on all fours, and it kind of changed. It became more rounded and more dog-like and not a humanoid figure. He's like, he goes, at that particular encounter, I did not see the legs. So I couldn't tell you, because I asked him, about the backward bent, whatever, the legs, and he didn't see the waist. He just saw like the upper body, and he did see arms when it went down, and they became kind of like dog legs. He goes, and then this thing began to run, not toward me, but in the darkness. And it went from one side of that darkness where the shadow overlapped the cars to the other. And it was like it wouldn't leave that area. He's like, I got the very distinct feeling that if I would have gone into that darkness, this thing would have chewed up my flesh, eaten me. He goes, pooped me out, and I would have been, my soul would have been gone. He's like, and at that point, he goes, I started to pray. He goes, but I was shaking. He goes, and I ran inside. He goes, he goes, at that point, I said, I quit. I grabbed my backpack. I grabbed my stuff, you know. It was an armed job. He goes, but I felt like this thing, you know. He's like, what's going on? The guy he was working with was a different guy. He had just met him that night. And he said, I saw something. It looked like a dog. And the guy goes, oh, okay. He's like, you saw the devil. And he says, yeah, but that fool went out there and whistled. He goes, he did? He said he got this look on his face like he was just like, how on earth did this guy do this? You know, like, why would he do that? And he's like, you know, I don't know why this guy did it. He's just, you know, a couple days later, that guy got fired. They had a meeting and they basically told him he was fired. That guy told him, he says, he goes, I'm cursing all of you. I cursed this place. I cursed all of you. And he started going around the building and doing all this stuff. They were watching him. As soon as that was over, the owner calls a priest to come out there and bless the property. The priest had been going out there for 13 years and doing it once a month. At this time, it was twice because of that guy's machinations. He said, dude, I was getting a crash course in spiritual warfare that I was not prepared for. He goes, I was not equipped. I was not prepared. I was not into this kind of thing. Jesus, God, the Holy Spirit. He goes, you know, the Virgin Mary, demons, ghosts, aliens, any of that. He goes, werewolves, whatever that was, hellhound. They said it was a hellhound. He's like, I was not involved in any of this kind of stuff. Demons, the devil. He goes, it was like, you know, like a lot of people. You know, he goes, there's a lot of people. He goes, I was at the Mercado one time. You know, they had a little, you know, we were there when they had the dances. Remember they had the dance?
Yeah.
He said there was a dance there at the Mercado. He goes, and I go there and I meet this girl. She's from Mexico. We start dating. And then he goes, and when she started doing this, you know, brujeria, whatever, he goes, I'm done. He goes, I don't know anything about that. I don't want to be a part of it. He's like, we went down to the valley where she was from. And he goes, and they did this like ceremony at her house, you know, and her aunt was there and her grandma. He said, man, I got in my truck and I drove back to San Antonio. He's like, I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know about it. He's like, I quit dating her. And I said, it's probably the smartest thing you could have done. He said that it was a thing for him that it was like he was not ready to accept, but he was thrust into this. And he also doesn't believe in coincidences like me, but when he got really sick, his brother took care of him. He says, I started realizing that there was something to this. He goes, I started praying every day. I started going to church and being more involved. He goes, and I went to a regular church. I didn't go to a Catholic church. It was a Protestant church. And his brother told him, you know, come to our church to fellowship, you know. I got really involved with Christ. He goes, and that's when I realized, like, this thing, whatever it was, being there was preparing me for my illness that I was going to have. And I was going to have to fight it with every bit of my being. And I was going to have to fight it. Spiritual warfare, being in Christ. And he says, this is what prepared me. This was like the proving ground. He's like, but I, in a million years, did not think that there was a demon that looked like a Dogman. And those exact words. This guy is not a Dogman aficionado. He's not like some of these people that we know that are all into that. And he said, dude, I was not prepared at all. He goes, and so you get this crash course. And he's like, and I started talking to the people that work there, and they were just kind of like, well, this is normal. Some of them, like people who worked inside, they didn't go out in the yard much. They didn't really know. They didn't really care. They just like, yeah, some people believe it. You know, one girl was like, I hadn't seen anything until you do. couple of the drivers had seen all kinds of stuff because they had been there a long time. And then one of the drivers was kind of new and only been there a couple of months. He said, I saw some shadows, you know. He's like, but it got to where it was becoming a habit. Whenever they would drop a car off in the darkness, they would all get together and they would pray. He goes, and gradually I kind of saw that there was this pattern. The people who didn't believe didn't last. They would see something, poop themselves, and then quit. And the people that did believe just learned to cope with it. And some of them quit too. He's like, but a new person would come along and it wouldn't take long. You know, he goes, and before you knew it, I had been there for 6 months. He's like, and he goes, Wolf, I can tell you this. I don't know how I did it. I don't know. I told him the same thing. I lived in a house that always had something going on, and I lived there for years, and I don't know. When he saw this devil, he only saw it that one time, but he said that it was the most terrifying thing that had ever happened to him. He called in sick the next day, and Vincent went up there and covered for him. He said, I talked to Vincent on the phone, and Vincent says, I've seen it 3 times. He's like, we don't know what it is. We think it's a demon or devil that appears because of the death. Now think about that. Imagine if these people who were going through all this, if they knew PRT, right? First of all, they didn't even know Christ the way they should have, at least Arturo. But imagine if they would have known our show. Because we at PRT are very initiated, and if you're not, well, stick around, you will be. This entity that he saw, think about it, it's a place of death. And I want you guys, you two, do you know why?
Why he saw that in that entity in the place of death? I mean, we're
going to find out what Tony and Anthony know here. Tony's like a deer in the headlights. Anthony's been put on the spot. Let's see what happens.
Well,
don't look at the chat. Don't let them help you.
Can I speak? Are you done?
You try to look at the chat. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was saying was that it's probably because of all like this. There's a residual energy there from traumatic death that these things will be attracted to and feed off of. Plus, I think that like whenever you die a traumatic death like that there is a level of like confusion that sometimes for people, and there's it's like they still have their astral bodies, but it's like it's almost like they don't know where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do. So like there's just like trauma and confusion like that there's attached to these objects.
Okay, so go ahead.
Tracks,
that's what you think as your final answer?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think, Tony?
Quite generic. I appreciate it. The corporate answer.
Let's see what
go
you got.
back into ancient Greek mythology here and talk about Cerberus.
Because you saw it in the chat.
I saw it in the chat. But I already knew that. Cerberus guards the gates of hell for Hades. He's the 3-headed dog.
Okay, but this isn't a 3-headed dog.
Well, I still think that, I was going to say myths come from somewhere. So I think that these hellhounds or whatever the heck they are, they do kind of serve that same kind of similar role where they go to areas. Which are
spirits are going to have different levels of sentience too, just like we do here.
So let me get back to the real reality. So you heard them fumbling because they don't pay attention. Here it is, folks. You pay attention more than they do. All right. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. These dogmen or werewolves or whatever they are, a lot of times are seen in and around places of death. I've even gotten stories of them being in mortuaries.
Zane had a story.
Yeah, Zane saw one.
In graveyard.
Yeah. A lot of people see them in graveyards. Arash saw one when he was playing near a graveyard. It followed him. That's a good friend of ours. In fact, I was talking to him on the phone yesterday. You got to realize something, folks. There's something to this. And the late Linda Godfrey, who I talked to many times about this stuff, she really believed that she was onto something about that, because we were talking about how the Aztecs had the cult of death and how they were coming down from the north, and everywhere they went, they would build these mounds and they would have these people that would encounter these Zolotl. That's what his name is. He looks like this creature that he's describing. with smaller ears. Not only him, but Anubis. He's another one. These beings, these dog-headed beings, because, and this is my opinion, but the Watchers, the Fallen, the Anunnaki, whatever you want to call them, these guys, right? The pyramids. They are the ones that did something genetically with these creatures. Now, if you look at my Facebook, you go to the conspiracies group that Nelly created, I posted something about these pyramids that they found under the water that they're dating back 40, 50,000 years off the coast of Mexico. Speaks to another time when the ocean levels were different and the continents were not what they are now. It's a time that we can't even fathom because it goes back so far. But I believe we all have a common ancestry, and I believe this Dogman has grown up alongside humanity for a long time. And that entity there is a metaphysical entity, like they all are. It's hard for people to wrap their minds around the fact that Dogman and Bigfoot can be a completely physical thing. They can even make poop. They can bleed. But then they can also zap in and out of our reality like that. People don't understand that. They don't grasp that concept. And they don't want to. There are still people, and to this day, who are wandering around out in the woods looking for Dogman. Like you're just going to stumble on one. Oh, look, I found it. Like, it's not going to happen that way. You can stumble around in the woods for a million years. You're not going to find it that way. But somebody can come across one just by chance. They don't work that way. I'm telling you. Because if they did, we'd already have a specimen. We'd have specimens of Bigfoot and Dogman, and we don't. And we may never. It's something that we really can't comprehend. But we kind of do know what it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, the word has been thrown around so much, people are tired of hearing it, but it's the Nephilim. The Nephilim are their descendants. This guy that was in that junkyard, this dude, the devil, as they called him, why is he there? Could he be escorting the evil souls to hell, the ones that are attached to their vehicles? Could he be keeping humans and spirits separate? I noticed something, and this is something I asked Arturo here, and I told him, I said, I'd like to talk to you if you've done any research on this. He said he would, and he got back with me. That's why this story was 3 weeks later than it would have been. And he did. He talked to some of these people that he still was friends with. And one of the things that his predecessor, a guard that used to work there, Vincent, and then a guy that worked there after him, both said the same thing. When they would see the devil, they didn't have any other activity going on. That's telling. That's interesting to me. And I asked him, I said, find out. Tell me what you can find out. It took him 3 weeks, but he got back with me. He said, Wolf, you're right. The night that I saw this, it wasn't a bunch of stuff happening. I didn't see other entities or anything like that. I saw it. Why is that? That's a question. A lot of times people are in the woods. They see a Dogman. They have everything is quiet. Everything stops. They don't hear anything. There's nothing. It's just them and that entity. Even in places that are notoriously haunted, sometimes there'll be stuff that'll go on, but not at the same exact time. And it's not always. But I would say 75, 80%, that's what you get. It's that. Because if their role is something like that, to kind of move between two worlds and be a guard dog, it's not going to let anything go back and forth, right? Mm-hmm. So everything just kind of goes and hides until this thing goes away. I say they go and hide because if you look at the Arabic tradition, and it's not even Arabic, it's Levantian. It's Jewish, Arabic, Turkish, Kurdish, you name it. Iranian. In the Levant, there is a creature that literally serves the purpose of destroying, killing, and eating literally eating the jinn. The jinn, in the way that they are like this in-between zombie type creature. It's a wailing woman. It's called the Naguila. Different names. Sometimes there's an S, sometimes there's not. But what the Naguila does is basically it's like a ghoul.
Mhm.
It haunts cemeteries. It eats deceased people, their bodies, and it'll eat humans that are alive too. But there's a creature that preys upon it. It's an ayub. It's a dog, a wolf, or whatever, a canine. And that creature will literally eat these ghouls. There's a weird legend, too, that says that the jinn cannot turn into a wolf. Look it up. This is in the Quran. Why is that? This legend predates Islam by thousands of years. I've studied this. If you have an entity that cannot be mimicked by a demon, then what is that entity? That doesn't mean it's your friend. That doesn't mean it's good. A great white shark might kill and eat a tiger shark. That doesn't make it your friend. It just kills and eats tiger sharks.
Still dangerous to you.
It's still going to kill and eat you. Yes. We've talked about these creatures before. Not the Salawea. That's a whole different, that's another type of what's a female she-wolf turns into a wolf. Not the Ifrit, not the Adharit. That's a whole race of beings. This is another creature altogether, another entity. Now you look it up. I don't want to butcher the name of it, but it is an Arabic werewolf. Arabic in the way that it is translated from Arabic. But like I said, there's several different races of people down there, not just Arabs. And it's known to be the way it is in places like Afghanistan. The Pashtuns talk about it. The Pakistani people talk about it. The Turkish people talk about it. The Jewish people talk about it. The Arabs talk about it. And there's all these different types of people. The Syrians, the Assyrians, the Iranians, Persians, whatever. They all have another name for this creature. But it does the same thing. It's this sort of pivotal role that it plays. It keeps the balance between humans and spirits, even demons. And it will actually kill people. It will kill demons. It's kind of at the top of the food chain. Let me see if I can look it up here. One of the names is the Qutrab. That's one.
That's what I found.
And then there's a Salua, which is the she-wolf.
Likened to an Arabian werewolf, similar to a ghoul, because it's said to haunt graveyards and eat corpses.
Yeah, and there's if you want to look it up, go and read a book called Legends of the Fire Spirits. I've read it, and it'll tell you what this thing is. It's a very interesting book, and it'll give you a lot of information about the Levant. Why does it take you guys so long to look stuff up? I don't understand.
I don't know what he's looking at.
I
found it pretty quick.
understand like what y'all do. You do it too. Y'all just sit there. You don't tell me anything, so I got to do it myself. So, anyways, here we are. You're wondering what this thing is. Well, it's some sort of like regulator. Now, this thing that our friend here saw, that Arturo saw, obviously, this was not a good thing. It was evil. Whatever that was, it was evil. He felt a darkness off of it like he couldn't even explain. But when this thing was active, nothing else was around. Probably because these things go and hide, okay, because you become prey. He did feel like it was stuck in the darkness, which means that it could have been wholly dark. I mean, W-H, not H-O, whole, wholly evil, completely consumed and part of evil, to the point where it is part of the darkness. It can't move into the light. And there's another thing, folks. The average person doesn't know how to defend themselves from a demon, much less to actually deal with it. There goes the throat when you start trying to tell people how to protect themselves. White light, the white light of Christ, which is the white light of the Holy Spirit, is the power that emanates from God. God emanates light. He is the source. He is the light, right? In your mind, you could close your eyes and you could visualize white light. One of the things that happens to people is they can't see their own face. Sometimes people can't see their own face because the demons are blocking you from being able to white light yourself and to protect yourself with the power of God against the power of evil. Don't give these beings power, okay? Satan is not just one being. I've said this before. It's a legion of beings, and they have a title and they have a race. Giving them this all-powerful whatever, and there's not one devil. There's a bunch of them. And I don't care what Yahoo comes along and tells you that things are this way or that. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you the absolute truth. I'll go to my grave telling you this because I know this. I know the nature of reality. This simulation that they've created, what it is, there's cheat codes. And there's entities that can move in and out of it, right? They'll mess with you. They'll cause problems. They'll take things from you. They'll make you sick. They'll try to kill you. But it's up to you to allow it. You give in. You give up. That is what happens. 100%. They are not allowed to kill you. They're not allowed to take you. It's only when you teeter-totter and kind of go back and forth. You cannot allow that to happen. You have to protect yourself and you have to stay in the light. That light can literally burn these demons to death. There are people who literally will tell you because they believe what little information we've been given by the church, going back to the Council of Nicaea in 325, where they first took the Bible apart, and then they took it apart more, and they took it apart more until you got the Schofield tearing it apart to where there's nothing left. Because any knowledge was heretical. Any knowledge that we had, we weren't supposed to have it. We weren't deemed worthy to have it. But Jesus tells us a whole different story. Jesus tells us that we die for lack of knowledge. That runs completely anathema to what the church is telling you. Church is telling you, you don't need to have all this energy and all this information. It's really dangerous for you. You're so stupid. You really don't. Let's take it all apart, take it away from you. That's what God would want. What God? The God of this world, or the one true living God, the one that Jesus tells us to aspire to be like, to worship and to praise, and to be protected by him? No. They're talking about their God, who is the little g God, who's fooled them into believing he's the big G God, and they follow him blindly over the cliff. Do you realize how many people on Judgment Day are going to be sitting there going like, well, I was reading, the preacher said, if I worship why do you not know me? Sounds like Bill from King of the Hill. Hank, now tell me, I didn't know. No, look, I didn't know. And Jesus is like, I never knew you. Who are you? Because you weren't worshiping my Father. You weren't following my teachings. You were following an ancient religion that was set up by Assyrians and Babylonian priests. That people that set themselves up as the people that should be in charge, and they're not. It's only been in the last 100 years or so, folks, that they flipped this doctrine, and you have these people over there screaming with their fervor, believing in what they're saying, and they're lying to you, and they're telling you to follow people who are not part of God. They are not. They're antichristal. Because I don't care who you are, what religion you claim, or what heritage you say you have, or what birthright you claim. If you don't accept Christ, it is not your birthright. It is not. And that was the cornerstone of the Christian faith up until the last 100 or so years, when they got in there and they finagled it out. And those who wake up in this matrix and look around and go, whoa, you're the ones that are going to inherit the kingdom of God. And when Jesus says, your name is in the book of life, you'll know. You'll know exactly who's not in that book. In fact, a lot of our names are not only in the book of life, but it's been written in the book of death. You know what that is? That's the Shaitan's book. They keep track of you. They put their names into their computer to remember you, because you've struck blow after blow against them and their demagogue. You've struck blow after blow after blow against them, and they remember it, and they will take their pound of flesh in this world, not in the next. Because in the next world, the true reality, where we're all trying to go, the real reality with God, they're going to pay. They're going to suffer for what they've done. And you're going to watch them do it. You're going to see it happen. We will judge those angels. They're fallen angels and their descendants, and they're going to be destroyed. Don't make the mistake of thinking they can't be destroyed in this world either, because they can give the second death. God gives the second death, but God gives you the power to do all things. He says that. Jesus tells us that. We have the power to do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Now, don't do it willy-nilly, because it is a very potent thing. If you give death, you can't take it back. Whether it's physical, spiritual, doesn't matter. You manifest something that cannot be undone, right? We don't have a time machine. But sometimes these beings, they're so vile and so evil, and they come to you through the wicked works of men. And woe to them, because if they come to you, they need to be dealt with. So oftentimes people just like, I just cast them off in the name of Christ. And you think that that's going to go and not come back? It's going to come back. I promise you it will.
They're like gangs.
They're like a gang. And there's not just one of them. It'd be nice if they all were just one big, that's not how it works. That's not. There's a bunch of them, and they fight each other too.
Like Lord of the Flies.
That's the nature of evil, to undo itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Achilles heel. That's their Achilles heel. Our Achilles heel is doubt, fear. Like Dune, fear is the mind killer. If you are afraid, your chances of failure just skyrocketed. Don't be afraid. Even if you're alone and you feel you're alone, you are not alone. That is a trick. Spirits are around you at all times. You have good ones, you have bad ones. Take the good. Take the good. Jesus says, test those spirits and find out. Don't just take it at face value when something comes to you, tries to touch you, mess with you. No. Because the good ones aren't going to come to you and make you afraid. They're going to calm you down. They're going to calm your fear. They're there to help you. But you can't just accept anything because you don't know what it is. So it's best, don't play with it. Don't mess with it. But when these demons come, and they will, they're there to play with you and mess with you. You have to be firm. And I'm telling you, it's a simple thing. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. I denounce you in the name of Christ. Christ bought our debts. You know what that means? We belong to him. In our lives, there's nobody's to give or take. Man, beast, spirit. And they can all be killed too. That white light can literally burn these entities. That's a little above what we're talking about today. One day we'll discuss that in the future. For now, we go back to what happened to these guys. So Arturo works there. He thinks he's losing his freaking mind, but his brother gets involved and he says, you know what? I want to work security. So Vincent retires. He quits. Arturo starts working 4 days a week, and then his brother comes on and he starts working there. So you have these two brothers and they work opposite of one another. And then they had a friend who's actually their cousin I can't tell you how many times I've heard Chewy.
Yeah.
Chewy. I made a joke, and I was kind of half joking, but I told Albert, I said, is his name Chewy? He goes, well, yeah, we kind of called him that. I said, everybody has a cousin named Chewy.
Yeah.
But you never meet Chewy and him say, my cousin Chewy, because he's the Chewy. So you never really meet him.
Yeah, you only get one per family.
Yeah, you only get one per family.
It's a standard issue Chewy.
Yeah. So anyways, Chewy is his cousin. And he goes and he worked there like every other week. We'd both have a day off because these brothers are very close. They do stuff with their families together. Their sons are 1 year apart from each other. Their oldest sons anyway. Played baseball, same team, everything. This guy, he comes in, he starts working, but he had an ability that was beyond anything these two brothers, as in their own words, he had ojo. The ojo was the eye. He could see. He could hear things. He could see things. When they were children, their grandmother's house lit on fire. He woke up and he crawled to his grandmother's room. And they thought it was really, really weird because why is this kid crawling to the bedroom of his grandmother when all it was like, a napkin that caught on fire on the stove. This is a weird thing, right? Why is this guy doing this? That's a joke.
Yeah.
That's a joke. No, he didn't crawl. No, so what happened was there was a fire. He went around and he woke up everybody. And what's crazy is they did an investigation. They found that a cat. They had brought a cat into the house, and it knocked over a candle that their cousin had left on the shelf and started in her bedroom. And Chewie woke up, got everybody out of there. Here's the interesting thing about that story. He warned everybody that that cat was evil. He said, don't bring that cat into this house. That's not a normal cat. He said that this is what he said. He was 7 years old, and he told Albert. Albert told me the story. He told Albert, he says, that cat had a spirit of an imp that was put into it by a witch. Yeah. And the people's house down the street, they had that cat, and it burned their house. Then the cat goes to them. House burns. They didn't lose the house, but it did some destruction. They had to redo part of the house.
Tried.
So grandma was smart, though. She had insurance, everything. Years later, that cat was running down the road with 3 dogs chasing it. And this is what Albert said. He goes, there were 4 of us there. It was me, Chewie's brother. He's like, my brother, He goes, and then our other cousin. He goes, we were all there. We were coming from baseball practice. He's like, and Arturo was like, look. That looks like that cat that we had, that Eva is their cousin. They brought in the house, it burned down, right? These dogs jumped on this cat. The cat fought off 2 of them, but the one dog just wouldn't let go. And then the cat just laid there, and this black smoke came up out of it, and the dog ran off. But the cat was dead. Like the cat was gone, but there was this black smoke that came out real quick. So they told their cousin Chewie, his brother was with him. He told him, he says, do you really believe? He says, absolutely. He goes, I closed my eyes. I could see it. There was a witch. And she put a demon into that cat. And it was to destroy those people that lived down the street, but it ended up getting out of the fire. There's no regulation on this thing. So it just goes to their house. And Ava goes, oh, let me take this cat inside. Then it starts a fire. Fire being, because Jinn are made of smokeless flame. Interesting stuff. Weird, to say the least. So here's what happened. Years and years go by, and they had a ton of stories that pertain to this junkyard, and we can get into some more of them, and I'll get into what Albert saw. Albert saw something that looked like a vampire. Now, remember when we talked, I said it was Arturo. I made a mistake. It wasn't him. But it looked vampiric, and it was there at that junkyard. And, we got to go tonight. We can't stay forever, but we'll get into it and we'll talk about that, on the next episode, because we're almost at the 2-hour mark. Sorry, it took me a while to get started. I was dealing with family stuff, obviously. So people have questions. Somebody says the second death. Let me explain that, because there's somebody here, John Sablon's talking, and our loving Father would not create anything to suffer burning forever by the purges of an incurable personality and restarting. Yes, to a degree. I will say this. The second death is the end of your consciousness. You yourself can deliver the second death to entities. And it's as simple as, you burn them with the white light, because their consistency is more of evil at that point, and they are darkness. Most of the time, an entity will it's like a leech. It'll let go, and as soon as that white light hits it, it's not going to stick around. But some of them are stubborn, and they'll sit there and and it's like a vampire burning. I'm not even joking. It sounds probably crazy to tell you this. You probably think I'm a madman, but everybody knows that this show is out there anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's only out there because it's something you really haven't been exposed to. You haven't been exposed to this anywhere. And you're not going to find this in a church. You're not going to find this anywhere else. I'm going to tell you the truth. The real reality. For me, personally, I'll keep punching. I'll keep fighting. I'm not going to give up. And I'm a very pragmatic individual, believe it or not. I'm not out there with my far-flung, hey, I'm out there, guy. That's not me. I deal with everybody accordingly. That's an interesting question, John. And if I thought that I could get the audience to pay attention for an hour and a half, I could explain to you what I think about hell. I don't think it's a permanent state because there is no time, though it can feel like it goes on and on and on. It's never ending because this moment in time right now is never ending. Everything is never ending. There is no beginning or end. There just is. But if you go to a place like that of fiery torment, right? Hear me out. And you have this mentality of a linear time, imagine what that's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
It will feel like eternity.
Your perception of it is going to be so skewed, you won't feel the real reality. You're going to be stuck in this reality. One of the things I thought about hell when I was young, and I still think this, I think one of the worst things besides the torment, the punishment, and the alone is, just being alone. I think one of the worst things is that you'll never really know the real reality beyond that. You're not going to see it. You're not going to learn. And that goes along with everything else. And not knowing that, in turn, it's what's going to keep you from being with the Father,
That
the
ignorance.
source. The ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ignorance that's what destroys you. That's what gets us. You don't have that presence of mind,
Yeah, it'll keep you in that spiritual death, which will keep you in that place.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So I apologize to everybody for not doing the mail-offs because the last 2-3 days has been a whirlwind. Thank you for that donation,
so much.
Greg. We appreciate it. It's been really hard. It's been a struggle, and I know that the devil or devils is what they're doing. They're attacking us hard. They're hitting us hard. They want to break us down, and Nellie is definitely a pillar of our channel. She does a lot of work for us on the show, and I was thinking about it earlier today. What she does for us. She helps me in ways that I can't even tell you. But when someone is attacked, all we can do is rally together and pray for healing. She's been my world for 8 years. And when somebody is suffering, you have to help them. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. We're not going to just lay down and let these bastards win. And I do believe people are sending this stuff to us. They've been doing it for a while. The thing with the eye, with her, that's been there for a long time. They think that it's been there for probably years. But it just got real inflamed, and now it's what it is. Don't ignore it, folks. If you have pressure in your head or if you feel anything like that, get help. Go get checked. A routine thing uncovered that. So any questions, anything before we sign off here?
When we finish the rest of this story, like that evil guy, like like whatever happened to him, is that gonna be like?
Yeah, because that was something that was uncovered by Albert, and he's the one that told me about that there was something that may have triggered, making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long drawn out thing. I don't want to sit here and talk about it too much because we got to go. It's already 10:30. But here's the thing: when someone dies and they're completely evil like that, he died in a manic state, having kidnapped someone, and then he died and he killed her through his actions. Now, a lot of times, and people aren't going to understand this, but these beings, these people, whatever, it's not as cut and dry as everybody thinks it is. Like, oh, well, you die, you're just heaven or hell.
Yeah.
That's not always what it is. This is a discarnate spirit and a disembodied spirit who is creating evil, and he may have been sent here before just to come back and wreak havoc. He probably, I would assume, this is my opinion, that, he was sent here to be a stumbling block. I call them agents of the Kali Yuga. You call them matrix babies.
Yeah.
They're the matrix.
Maybe enslaved at that point.
Pretty much. And he's caught on the wheel of Dharma, and he's just being spit back out into circulation to cause problems.
Mm-hmm.
If you were fighting a war and you fought these insurgents and you released them, they're just going to wander off and go get caught up in their military again. They're going to throw them back into circulation.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you're going to fight them all over again. You know, that's what leads to some, militaries just taking them out of the woodshed and, because we're just going to fight them again.
Yeah.
But by the rules, you're not supposed to do that. But in war, rules are just bent.
Yeah.
And this is a war. Make no mistake, folks, this is a spiritual war. We, as Christians, believers in the faith, are under siege from everybody, from everywhere, from all sides. And it is overwhelming. And you will eventually probably have to suffer because the evil holds sway. Because Jesus says this is not his Father's world. This is the God of this world, the God of this world. And the people who claim to be God's people, a lot of these people, whether they're Christian, Muslim, or Jews, they worship the God of this world, which is the Shaitan and whoever their boss is at the time. And make no mistake, there are different aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
People say, well, the devil is Lucifer. We know that. Some people worship him. Some people worship Asmodeus. Some people worship Astaroth. And still, some people worship that other one, Malak or Remphan, which is the ancient, whatever. What does it matter? It's like Bloods, Crips, and Latin Kings to me. They're all gangs. They're all not in your best interests,
Yeah.
And they're best to be avoided if you can avoid them. Now, in your life, you will come across people and beings and whatever, and it may not be something that you want to do, but somebody may decide that they want to take your life or take something that you own. It's up to you to defend it. And how you do that is up to you. But there are proficient ways that you can defend from these beings, these things. And then there are inefficient ways. For me, the most efficient way is in the name of Christ, I rebuke you. May God the Father of Christ, rebuke you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I get this. Saint Benedict. You want to read the prayer? You have it memorized, Anthony?
Yeah, I think it's in English or in Latin?
Well, in English.
Yeah, because it's
not going to do any good to tell people in Latin.
Let the Holy Father be my light. Or no, let the Holy Cross be my light. Let not the dragon be my guide. Get thee behind me, Satan. Never tempt me with your vanities. What you offer me is evil. Drink your own poison. That's what it translates to.
Yeah, it's like, Holy Father, give us the wisdom to discover you, intelligence to understand. There's all these different prayers you can say,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. You can ask for prayer in all sorts of different ways. And I'm going to tell you right now, I do believe that the Order of the Saint Benedict is a very powerful one. It has a real potency to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you use that, it is a deflecting prayer, which it says, drink your own poison. So when the Shaitan or Satans come to you, and Satan's really is the appropriate word because there's not one Satan, there's a lot of them. When they come to you, they will attack you. You have to deflect it. You have to repel it. And that's where the prayer comes. It says, drink your own poison.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. You want to read it in Latin?
I don't think I have it memorized in Latin.
You did one time.
Yeah. I don't think I do at this point.
You had it memorized in Latin.
I think it goes like Crux sacra sit mihi lux, non draco sit mihi dux, vade retro satana, nunquam suade mihi vana, Sunt malaque libas, ipsa venena bibas. So it rhymes in Latin.
Yeah. So it's the prayer is the say it in Latin is supposedly the more potent way to say it. And make no mistake, these entities, they know Latin, they know English, they can say it. So the prayer is crux sacra sit mihi lux, right?
Yeah. Spelled with an H, but like
Nunquam Draco sit mihi dux vada retro Satana, which is Satan, of course. Nunquam sada mikivana, is that right?
yeah.
Remember, sunt malaque libas ipsis venana
Venena.
yeah, venena.
Mhm.
Okay. Bibus. Venenus bibus, which is drink your own poison. Yeah. So that's the prayer in Latin. And it's a hard one to remember because if you don't know Latin, like it's not a fluent language for you, but just remember it rhymes, and if you say it, and it has it on the back of this, but I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah. Well, it's got the first letter of each word in Latin on the back of that.
Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't have it on there. But there's other prayers that are associated with the order of Saint Benedict. There are other prayers. Let's see if I can see better with this. Because I have these bifocals.
Oh, yeah. I forget you had those.
Yeah.
Got to wear them on the tip of your nose.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody here says, what is that word? Human monster muse says they know every language of man. They do.
Oh,
they have all the time to our lives are broken up. Theirs aren't. They're all consistent. So let me look this up real quick.
Yeah, because language is just a conduit for meaning and intention. Like words are kind of a primitive way to communicate, really.
Okay, so I found this. There's a breakdown of the prayer. It says the prayer is broken down into segments, often represented by the initial letters on the medal. That's what that is.
Yeah.
CSSLML, which is Crux Sacra Sit Mihi Lux. May the Holy Cross be my light. I can't read this without my glasses. That's too. God dang it. Getting old, folks. It says here, NDSMD, non-draca sit mihi dux, let not the dragon be my guide. DRS, vada retro satana, begone Satan. I know that one I've used. NSMV, nunquam sade mihi vana, never tempt me with your vanities. SMQL, sunt malaque libas, what you offer me is evil. And that is important to say because when you're revealing what you know to these devils, you let them know that you know that it's temptation and it's evil and it's wrong. And then IVB is ipse venena bibus, drink the poison yourself. Or some people would interpret it as drink your own poison. So when somebody is hurling curses and things at you, that prayer is very potent because it will repel, at least it's supposed to, and it depends on your faith. I have faith, and I say this prayer, and I repel it. And that's what you should do too. Repel this evil that is sent to you from whatever source. People are very powerful. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that is a lot of people think these devils and demons have all this power. They don't have the power other than what they can do through people. They hurt you through people. Through the power of people who are evil, who are wholly evil, who are willing and just wantonly evil people, they use them as a vessel to cause pain, suffering, and misery in your life. They do it through lies and deceit, deception. They do it through all sorts of ways. And it is a form of sorcery, whether they want to admit it or not. Every time they speak an ill word against you, bear false witness, which has happened to us a lot from a particular group of people. These people, they do what they do, but they're being used as vessels by a higher entity, which is these demons. And I only say that they're a higher entity because when you give them the authority, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You allow them to be higher than you because they are not higher than you.
You buy into that false hierarchy.
You buy into that they have this sort of ability or power. Imagine if you went to an island full of natives that had never seen a gun, and you went to them, and in the words of what's his name from Evil Dead, Ash, this is my boomstick. Look at what I can do with this boomstick. You shoot some trees. Look at what happened. I made those trees fall. Oh, what? Oh, you're so powerful. I can make myself invisible. You know, that's what they do. Well, of course you can, because you're coming from the fourth density.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a trick. It's really science that we don't understand. And they make themselves, which these beings are really quasi-interdimensional alien. That's what they are. Alien in the way that they're not from here. And in truth of the matter, neither are we.
Yeah.
But they come from another realm, and then they tell you, oh, look what we can do. We have all this power. And then there's dummies that go, oh, and they fall down and they worship these things. Big mistake. Because once you do that, you're making them your deity.
Yeah, or that movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy, when they thought the airplane was like one of their gods. I mean, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So I got a message here, and this is from Nellie, and she says here, just wanted to say what she was, the reason why it's more potent in Latin is because of the vibration and the frequency of those words, the sounds, the syllables. That's important for people to know. Yeah. So that's from her. Yes, Nellie, you're correct. The sounds, the syllables, the vibration, because everything is a sound. Everything is a vibration. Just like drum beats. Do you know why that's become one of the most popular?
This low vibrational music.
Low vibration, bass. Everybody's like, I'm into that bass, no trouble, blah, blah, blah. You're into demons, no love. Because bass is something that is not good. It's a low vibrational frequency that attracts demons because they hover on that low vibrational plane. Now, I'm not telling you that drums are evil, but in the way that it's used in a lot of these songs, it's hypnotic and it's not good. You're bringing them to you. It's like a dinner bell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she has another point here. They want to get rid of Latin and ancient languages because they're more powerful. Why do you think that Latin died? What do you think that is? It just evolved into other languages, right? But until, the last few decades, Latin was taught in school. I took Latin my freshman year in high school, but I don't remember a lot of it. I can, if I'm reading it, I can put the words together. Like I can read in multiple languages much better than speaking them. And somebody tried to argue with me the other day, and they're like, speaking it's much easier than like, no, it's not. It depends on the person. It depends on the person. But most people will find it easier to read something in another language than to speak it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the key.
Now, honestly, you would think that the Latin would be like almost a requirement to learn, like to have some kind of foundation in Latin, because so many languages are derived directly from it, and like once you know that, learning other languages becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, folks, we're going to run. We got to get out of here. We got to go. We got things to do. Thank you for everybody that donated. Join the Patreon, because that's going to be your key. Also, get your name in green. That's $5, and that'll get you the show that's going to come out on Thursday. Not this month. For this month, you're good. But then next month you're going to have your name in green. And then we will be doing an extra show, an extra pre-record, starting in September. And that'll be available if you're a Patreon member. So thank you for tuning in. You want to do a giveaway here?
Yeah, sure.
Let's give away some.
So if you haven't won, make sure you say in the comments, "I have not won. I want to win." Bless you. Let's see who. I'll be like, I would just pick whoever's first, whoever speaks up first.
Yeah.
But who's gonna pick, and how many are we doing?
Well, we have to do a lot of. We have a lot of giving away to do.
Want
We
to
got
do
to
just one
get it
tonight?
done. So we'll give them. We'll do it. We're gonna do it tonight. And tune in tomorrow. I'm gonna do a show tomorrow, folks. It's gonna be. We're gonna get back on with the call-in shows.
So
Dick Richards, be ready because she'll be my co-host, of course.
We got
Tia
Tia
30.
30. It's just I've not won and want to win. So there it is. So the email address that you need to send your information to if you're a giveaway winner is scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. It's giveaways@prtpodcast.com. Make sure you send your name, your mailing address, and your shirt size, and we'll get you a shirt.
Where is that at? I don't see T130. What is that?
THIA 30.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just commented again saying thank you.
That's weird. I don't see. I see. Oh, okay. Tia 30.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was the first one.
Mhm.
Okay. So who chose that one? Anthony?
Yeah.
Tony, your turn.
I will choose Kitty Danger for Miss Kitty.
Kitty Danger.
Mm-hmm.
Has Kitty Danger? Have they won before?
I said never won my first time.
Cool. Raven Poe says I have not won. Okay, so I'll choose you. There's 3 people right there. We did it.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yep. So at the bottom of the screen, the giveaways at prtpodcast.com. That's how you're going to get your stuff. So send the information to that. Oh, okay. So Tia 30 says, I'm the one in Houston when my mom saw the human face dog. Yeah, that was weird. All right. Lots of stories. Lots of weird stuff. We'll be back, and next time we're going to talk about what happened to Albert. That's Arturo's brother. We'll do that on Wednesday, and we'll talk about the vampire that he saw, or what he thinks was a vampire. Who knows? Everybody's going to have their own opinion. That wasn't a vampire. It didn't sparkle. Who knows? But anyways, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being the best part of what makes PRT what it is, and that's the audience. And we love you. Good night.
There's no place for old men, a breed going extinct, as the youth coddles each other, and love appears to be in the air. Breeze singing and trees living, a time of generations dying. The sea is full, yet so many are falling. Born to die in neglect, with their unaging intellect. 2 ages to be forgotten. The world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go. I shall transcend this life so bold. How age makes a man invisible. He wanders alone, tattered as his clothes. Forgotten soul finds song in his heart. Monuments of magnificent, the seas have taken me to Byzantium. 2 ages to be forgotten. The world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go. I shall transcend this life so bold. Sages transcend this life so bold. Once free from this body, I'll never come back again. Not to this place, I'll be where goldsmiths work. To entertain the lords and ladies of Byzantium, it matters not what is the past, or what is passing, or is to come. To age is to be forgotten. The world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go, and I shall transcend this life so